So yeah, in this position, knight c6 is called for, especially because d5 is too early, and after takes d4, it's going to be very difficult for you to hang on to both of these pawns if they play correctly, which they did not. Like
Right.
one very plausible scenario here, although knight takes d4 is perfectly fine and the better position for white already is queen takes, already attacking this knight f6, bishop g5, knight c6, bishop b5. And if you look at the superior development of the white army, and on top of that you realize that you have got a very awkwardly weak isolated pawn. How do I make it blue? Yeah, in the center, it spells disaster. Let's not beat around the bush. This is not looking good at all. So what we need to do here, knight f6 or knight c6 are normal moves, more like knight f6 actually to cover this, but in general the whole structure is questionable. So knight c6, d4 takes, knight f6, and then we are in the stuff that we know really well. Okay, so d5, tuck, 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 knight c6, queen f3, that's a junk move. And then Philip decided that this was not free.
Yeah, I saw immediately after I played.
Yeah.
Very sad.
So that is very sad indeed, Philip, and I have to confirm that because these are 3 points thrown at you. And you are a good enough player to see these things. I mean, there is an obvious tension in the center already. These knights are attacking each other. So there is no way that it could avoid your attention that the queen that was guarding it is Gonski. And so you just... bang. Alright. If you want to be a tricky customer, you can play bishop d6 first, hoping they play something like bishop e3, whereupon bishop g4 actually traps the queen. But this is a bit gimmicky, to be honest, and nothing wrong with bishop g4 and the way how you played it. But now we have to swap off further pieces, which is not necessarily that desired by us. Okay, h3 is horrendous, and actually from here on, the next 10 moves you played like an absolute god. A god of chess, or rather the goddess of chess, which would be Kaisa. Queen e7, beauty. Castles, and we harvested the free piece, which would have been dead anyway, because after queen d3, rook here, the tripling up on the open file decides the issue. And then we pinched a few pawns here and there. Yeah, I wasn't overly excited about losing this pawn, but luckily you don't get backring mated, and the rest is just too simple now. Alright.
Yeah.
Good job. This hurt.
This was the same. Yeah, this was the same guy actually.
Especially then. This is so far perfectly played. And e6 is a very lame and timid move here. Bishop takes, bishop b4. Queen d3. I don't mind queen d3. I guess
just going to protect the.
Yes, I know that guarding e4. Yeah, I don't mind it. Oopsie, that was the wrong button. Castles. Would you consider castling here? Probably not. Seems to be a bit too ballsy. Okay, castles. h6. When your opponent plays a move like this, you already know. A move like this, you already know that you are doing more than fine. Because that's just a waste of move. Makes 0 sense. Nil, none whatsoever.
Yep.
Okay.
So I did this because I wanted to get my bishop to, I don't know if it's a decent plan, but a2 and then d1.
That is a perfectly decent plan. Ah, dagnammit. My webcam keeps on falling down. I hate it. Bishop there. Yeah, I just looked at it and I'm going like, what?
Yeah, this was a mistake. Sorry, I didn't want to double.
Nah, you are very generous with yourself, Philip. This is not a mistake. This is a horrendous blunder. Mistake is a different kettle of fish. That's the pawn d5 that you played in the previous game. This is a game ender. Plus, I don't understand the logic behind it at all, because they took a piece of yours. Why wouldn't you take it back?
Yeah.
So why do we need to go fancy when you just can take a free piece? And this by no means compromises your king structure, king size structure, by the way, because you dominate the center. They don't have a wide squared bishop to be annoying here. These two pieces are never going to be able to do anything on this side. So if anything, you basically got a g5 for yourself to attack along.
Okay.
So a likely way to
Like
continue
that,
this
yeah.
game would have been bishop b6 trying to attack you here. You readjust the rook. Don't know. I'm just playing moves that they are likely would have played. King here, rook. Actually, I'm probably playing better moves than they would have played. But even here, I reckon rook g1 is quite good because bishop takes h6 is threatened. Anywho, we went for this unexplainable bishop sortie that resulted in us being a piece down. Did you realize at this stage that you were a piece down? And I know I sound like a jerk, but...
No.
Because
I
I guess your idea was that, oh, then I regained the piece, except that we lost 2 in the process. But, okay, so that's good then. You actually played very good moves here. Like I liked rook d1. I love queen e5, pinning this, putting more pressure here, hinting b4 and stuff. Really good job. Okay, that's quite decent too. Now, no one understands in the universe why he didn't play bishop b6 here, right?
Yeah, that would have been good.
Which would have been a chess move, as opposed to rook c8. That actually is still okay, but only because your opponent is a ridiculously fluky dude. Because after queen d4, queen takes, rook takes, he actually has bishop b6 that wins.
I think that's what happened, actually.
Yes, yeah, I'm playing the game. It wins.
Oh, okay.
Something. Now, why we are donating a free rook is beyond me. Why he's not taking it is like I'm not even going there, Philip. I lost track of what the heck was happening here.
Yeah, me too. Wow.
I mean, this is just like, really, dudes? Rook on and then not taken? Wow. Yeah, and the rest was, yeah, not looking pretty. But again, I don't understand, Philip, how you can fall for a fork like this when you could have gone here.
Actually, after I played it, I knew you were going to say this. Because I did that once before.
Yeah, I know that I'm being a bit of a nasty pasty here, but you have to acknowledge the fact that we are throwing stuff in almost every game very unnecessarily. And actually, rook d7 is all the more so highlights this fact.
Yeah, that was the blunder that started it.
Let's not deal with this now. Queen e3, queen e2. Alright, this guy needs to sign up for some chess coaching too. By 2, I mean that far more so than you do. Knight f6. I'm so glad that you played this. Very good. Developing move. And I'm so unhappy that you took this. Because you have to tell me why you did it. And sadly, you won't be able to tell me.
Yeah, I will not.
Because the only thing I can think of, Philip, and that's a sad assumption, is that you thought that you are winning a free pawn. And if that was the premise, then we can consider this move to be a blunder too, because then supposedly we missed to take a free pawn already here.
Yeah.
Which is a false assumption, because takes back with a check, which allows them to then defend the pawn, which means that we release tension and we swap the central pawn for a meaningless, dumb, positively obstructive pawn. So as far as positional chess is concerned here, Philip, we couldn't have played a worse move than taking this. What would have been the correct move instead? There are actually a few of them, but I would like to insist on one in particular standing out.
d5.
Correct, because we d5 because we play chess in the center, as opposed to giving up voluntarily the center. That's a very bad mistake here, strategically speaking. That said, your position is still better because its queen is retarded here, but that's a totally different story. Center, Philip, center. You know that.
Okay.
Okay, problem is, after rook e8, as much as I would love to say that you do have a threat, you don't.
Yep.
which potentially can cause problems when they play d5 at one stage or deny your d5 one way or another. So let's just not give them opportunities like this. Mind your opponent is playing fully crazy, so I'm lost for words about what's happening here. Why are we taking it with the bishop and not with the knight? Because you want to destroy it.
No, I thought I could attack the f2.
That's a totally irrelevant piece of information. It's far more relevant that you're threatening to destroy their their king's defensive structure. The fact that after bishop d4 this pawn is on is a coincidence that makes no really any reference or whatever effect to the game, because they are going to be playing attacking moves like that, and eventually it's going to lose its effect on that f2 pawn. And actually, you wouldn't even want to take it, Phillip, because that would actually open up a file onto that pawn. So the reason why I originally asked why not with the knight, because I prefer knights in the center over bishops, because the bishop can exert just as much pressure from here than from here, and we have already discussed that the direction that way is just a mirage. It's an optical illusion. But to give you credit, bishop takes d4 does threaten with causing trouble down here.
Right.
So that can be a legitimate point. Bishop d3, that's dumb again. Bishop c4 should have been preferred. G6, good. Queen f3, and I don't understand why we are not destroying said pawn structure. Because I tell you not to give up bishops for knights, yeah?
Yep.
Unless when we win something major out of it, which in this case is a completely compromised and shattered king's position, yeah? And simply d5, queen d6, you're coming in from here. Beauty. Okay.
I missed some tactics in this game. I remember looking at this.
These moves cause me physical pain. Like I'm just, yeah. Okay. Now I'm okay with this. I would have taken it too. Don't be sorry, because the circumstances have changed. You have the two bishops. There is no pressure on the f-file. It's a free pawn, and I'm not against taking free pawns. If it's safe, if there is nothing better on the board, I'm good with that. A pawn is just as a valuable customer of the whole army as any other. So if it's free, thank you very much. I will take it. And indeed, bishop f5 was the correct way to continue development. So it's all fine and dandy. I don't really find this move logical in the sense that you are forcing the king to a safer square. Where
sure, I didn't. Okay, like I can explain it. I wanted to move my bishop somewhere, maybe back to like g6.
Oh, you wanted to regroup like that?
Yeah. That's the idea.
Even then, considering what a genius your opponent is, and actually even stronger opponents would have actually kicked you out from here.
Right.
So let me put it in perspective for you. I would have considered something like c6 because, surprise, surprise, your coach is a center maniac, and I like to put stuff in the center. And when they kick you out, which I'm almost certain they would have done, then you go, not there, check here, and then you either give them a gentle kick in the backside followed by coming back, or you first come back, always floating the idea of a gentle kick in the backside.
Okay.
Okay? Alright, so let's see how the action actually went. Whoa!
This was a blunder, I think.
Oh, tiny, ignorable blunder that he's losing a piece.
Yeah.
2.
Tiny.
Okay, so why are we still playing this game? I mean, why is he still playing this game?
I'm not sure. Here, right there, I missed the queen. I could have had the queen for free, previous move. So stupid.
Yeah. Don't we have a check here?
Yeah, yep, I know.
Cough, cough.
Yes.
Actually, you still may have a free queen here after bishop takes a2, because now the queen is on, and bishop h6 check is going to be almost mate.
Yep.
So...
How can he... Oh, rook.
Hey?
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to see why it isn't mate, but the rook can just block it.
Well, first of all, because if he has any brains, he will come to g5, which stops it.
Yep.
But then you have got 75 million options of forcing this queen off the diagonal, for example, f6, and if the queen comes here to cover this, after queen f4 check, it's mate next. Okay, this would have been even cuter. Takes, bishop takes g4, check, winning the queen.
Agreed.
Or,
Nice.
if you really want to do it very fancy, Phillip, then start with bishop takes g4, and when they take you, they will checkmate.
Yeah.
In this position, there is no way that there is no tactical way to win this game. When the 2 pieces up, there's a battery staring at you, the queen is looking down in the barrel of a gun. Man, you don't look at anything else but that violence. And queen h3 is not violence. That's a very lame way to convert this advantage. Effective. Oh! Alright, so you actually did score the tactics in the end. Good on you. Alright.
Yeah.
Whoa, what the heck is going on here? c4. For the record, when you reach 2400 FIDE, I will ask you to start with knight f3 against the Dutch, because there are some subtle sidelines where you prefer to hold this pawn back, because in some variations when this check comes, if you have already played c4, then you must block it with a piece that allows a swap. But until we reach 2400, we don't worry about such things.
Is this the Dutch? Sorry.
Yes, it is the Dutch.
Okay.
Phillip, what does this move do?
Yeah. The knight development, the fact that
no, it attacks the pawn. That's what it does.
Right.
From our point of view, the fact that it's developing is a no-brainer, and we expect our opponent to play a developing move. But this particular developing move actually attacks this pawn.
Yep.
So should not we respond to that in a meaningful way?
So bishop f4.
No.
Yeah. No.
No.
F4 ourselves. Well,
F4 is not a developing move. I would rather chop my hand off than play F4 here, and so should you.
Good. Oh right, wow. Why didn't I see that? Knight f3.
Yep, that's my question too. Isn't it screaming obvious?
It is now.
Right, so we have got a basic rule of thumb that we develop knights before bishops. This doesn't happen to protect the pawn, and this one does. Right. I really would like to get to the bottom of this, Phillip, and I'm failing miserably, so you will have to help me. Because these are ridiculous blunders that are not acceptable even on your level. Harsh it may sound, but these are, again, the games that you could convert and win a zillion times sooner than you actually do, not to mention the fact that many times you actually lose these games because of these mental blocks. So did it register to you that this was hanging?
Yeah, it did.
Okay, so, and then you went like, I can't defend it, or what?
No, I looked at the bishop f4, I didn't like it, so I decided to ignore it.
Right, but see, bishop f4 is already the wrong reaction, because you need to look at knight moves first. So, right, okay. Right. Okay, actually, this is quite risky to play like this. Phillip, what does this move do?
Allows my bishop to develop and attack his knight.
Correct. So right now we have this scenario where this pawn moves, the knight is hanging. How would you describe your chess coach when it comes to his relation to the middle of the board?
Right, e4. Yeah. Okay.
Can you please explain to me why in this position you would ever prefer e3 over e4? Even if e4 was attacked by 75 pieces, you would still go there because his knight is hanging. But that's not the case. Yeah. It's not even attacked per se because it's also guarded. But once again, it's an irrelevant and totally, you know, unimportant fact that this is hanging here because this knight is on.
Right.
So why you stop here, I really don't know. And you know that I am a maniac about putting all your stuff in the center, especially when it so brutally attacks the pawn, then that allows you to give a check that then can't be blocked by the pawn because you keep on taking. These are game changers, Phillip, especially on your level. Because after this, at best, you will have some sort of counterplay for the pawn. Here, the guy would have collapsed, guaranteed, in the next 10 moves. Guaranteed.
Okay.
Let's pick a square, shall we?
D3 maybe where it attacks the pawn. Or...
Strangely enough, this is where you're attacking the...
Yeah, the pawn.
No, the center. The pawn is a side effect, Philip. The main idea behind this is that you are covering the center, the e4 square that now they can't really occupy anymore, and on occasions you even might break out with e4. And yes, it does attack f5, but that is just a side effect of you playing the correct move. This is not the correct move because it attacks the pawn. That's totally that's back to front.
Yeah.
The concept is that this is the correct move, and as a side effect of being the correct move, it actually attacks a pawn. Happy days. Opposed to bishop e2, which again is a very sad move, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't give you any scope for attack. And in fact, Philip, you can already see that he's going to castle here. You can see that you have got a semi-open d file. So everything is pointing to the direction that we should castle here. You are a pawn down. You are seeking initiative. You are seeking to disturb the balance at all costs. Now the balance has been disturbed because you blundered a pawn. But what I mean now by that is that in order to show up some sort of countermeasures against that, you need to sort of stir away from what both sides would assume to be a normal way to continue the game, which is how it went. Bishop out, lame castle here, and eventually this initiative that you currently have is going to evaporate and you will be stuck with a minus pawn. So what I'm saying is, okay, failure, we can live with that. Let's put this queen out here. Right away we are denying castles. And regardless of what the heck they do next, you castle here. Not here by any chance, here. The rook is immediately on the open file, and it gives you a lot of scope for kingside attack should they eventually sort out castling there. How they will do that, I don't know. Like here you still have a close opposition. You've got stuff that like knight g5, bishop takes and mate that is actually quite complex to defend. Castle is very, very a submissive move here. C6. Of all moves, your opponent came up with that. Wow.
Yeah.
Talent. Alright, explain this please. No,
Just...
don't say please.
Okay.
Please, please, I beg you not to say that you're guarding the pawn. Because, I'll tell you why not, Philip, because who is attacking here?
Yeah, we are.
Who is in trouble here?
We are. Well, they are.
Well, as far as I can tell, Philip, we are currently a piece up, and they have got a whole entire side of the board that can't move for the next 170 moves. Because it's impossible to mobilize these. Yeah? So when I see queen b6 being played, the only thing that registers in my mind is that it does not threaten with a mate in one. Because that is currently my only fear. If I don't get mated, I don't care if it attacks a pawn, a rook, a bishop, a knight, whatever. I don't care. Because I'm going to go check and I'm going to go checkmate.
Yeah, I saw this after.
But the problem, Philip, is the mindset that it even registers that it's attacking a pawn. Who cares? You are in a mode of kill, 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 kill. Like I would love him to take this because now he wasted a move, he's going to waste another. Please take it. Even if you didn't have this auto win, I would have loved him to take this. Because that means he's spending moves on not developing his stuff and not defending his king. It is a fundamentally false concept. And you should never ever acknowledge moves by actually paying attention to what's hanging. And I find it very difficult not to use words that I can't use on this channel, but zero damns are given to such things like this pawn. It doesn't register. Okay, until I saw b3 your move, I didn't even actually make a connection of queen and pawn, because my mind is already on these moves about how to make the living hell out of him.
Yeah,
Okay.
The even sadder thing is I looked at bishop check here and didn't see what it did immediately. Yeah.
Well, it wins the game.
Yeah. Aside from that, for some reason I didn't register that the rooks are not connected.
Yeah. Well, but even if let's assume that this guy is not here, right? So then after check king h8, you continue with knight e5 or knight g5, threatening knight f7, winning the game. Okay, I'm not going to rabbit in any more. For the record, bishop c4 wins even more than before.
Yes.
So once again, check, king here, queen e7. How will they stop the mate?
Cannot.
Yeah, so see, Phillip, that is a problem that some of my students very badly struggle with. And they somehow can't make this absolute 180-degree mindset shift that currently you are playing an absolute 100% responsive chess. Which means that they come here, oh, my pawn is hanging, I move it. My queen is hanging, I will take it. My knight is hanging, I will move it. And you keep on missing constantly immediately winning moves. Knight up. Rook up. Oh, my queen is hanging. I will move it. This is a mindset that you need to get rid of with entirely. And once you let go of it, it will immediately show in your play. Like, once again, the difference between your thinking and mine here is that your thinking is, oh my god, my queen is under attack. Mine is, how can I mate him?
Yeah,
I don't care that the queen is on, because I have got so many things to do that it's an irrelevant fact. And even if I did care about the queen being on, my first idea would be to always go forward. Forward, forward, forward. Never back. Ever. See, like that is the most passive, most submissive move you could possibly make on the board. That one is a bit of a mystery too.
Pencil case?
Honey, I'm having a lesson. See you later. Sorry. Yeah, I'm not quite sure about this one either, but now our chances to finish it off immediately are gone.
Yeah.
Okay. Please tell me that you saw g5 coming and you knew that queen g3 was spinning it.
I did, actually.
Good. All right. I totally believe you, so it's all good. I would be reluctant, Phillip, to make moves like this, because yeah. So now we actually need to be a little bit reactive. Regroup this knight to a good-looking square, and then go from there. Because currently this sort of semi-hanging scenario is not something that you enjoy to be in. Why here? Why not here? Knight on the rim is grim, yeah? That's good old Tarash.
Yep.
200 years ago or so. So knight back, center. Right. I know it sounds pathetic that I keep on repeating it, but when you look at good players playing chess, inevitably you will find that their best moves always have something to do with the center.
Right.
Okay, your opponent is going very cheapy here. Good, 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 good. Okay, can't we go forward? Maybe not.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I still don't even.
No, I'm trying to be as ridiculously cocky as possible, but we can't. Okay, I have to accept that. I somehow prefer the center, but I understand why you went to c3. After all, pinching that pawn would be a juicy point as well. I would rather have played here rook f4. Because again, this is a passive,
yeah,
very
it's
passive
the
way
same
to
thing.
attack. That was from here, you have scope to come this way. Option to take with the rook, which you don't have from here. You never like to have the queen in front when you're doubled up like this. That's always very awkward. You would much rather have them other way around. So there are issues here again. But he's solving them for us very kindly. Okay, I don't understand this move. So let me clarify the situation in case it didn't happen in your brain. You are pinned.
Yeah.
Right now it's an irrelevant pin because both knight g3 and knight c3 solves the problem on the spot.
Okay.
Right? All this aside, the most sensible move in this position by far is king f2.
King F2.
That protects the piece that was pinned, sorry, not the pin, but the one that it was pinned to, and consequently your knight is free to go wherever it wants to go, and you actually played a developing move. Rook e3 does bugger all on the positive side, but at least now you moved out of all the possible knight jumps that would have guarded your rook, so now you are actually 100% pinned. Granted, king f5 doesn't work because you have the check, but for the life of me, I don't see what your next move is going to be. Yeah. Do tell, please, what the plan was with this. I actually know what your next move is going to be. King f2.
Yeah.
Which is what you should have done. So that is hugely risky to play moves like that. Okay, why don't we give a check here, Phillip, and swapping pieces?
Should definitely have. I don't think I saw it.
I don't even want to go to the details, but I actually do, because this is an important moment for us to reflect. This is a super basic win. Do you want me to tell you the clearest win here? Take here. Rook takes, king here, king c5. And all it comes down to him playing the dumbest pawn move out of all in this position. Literally, out of all the possible pawn pushes, by far the dumbest is b5 because it makes the structure rigid. And so if you can actually stop all the three with one pawn alone. Yeah, so you never ever play moves like this. You always keep your pawns flexible by pushing them like this. So after b5, king f2, king f5, I actually think that this is the fastest route to victory, because here you are just going to take all of these pawns whilst he can't take any of these. Two connected pass pawns are always untouchable by a king. I pushed one of them for you to see it, because once you take one, the other one tends to run in.
Okay.
This is an utterly hopeless scenario here for black. Okay, so instead we played king f3, stepping into the... Really? I mean, that was the only way for you to lose that piece, Phillip.
Yeah. Nothing but shame looking at this one.
And the problem is that you are actually choosing the wrong side for your king too. Because the point of this pawn ending is that if you come here after rook takes, king takes, you are actually going to win this because you have got what we call an outside pass pawn. Take, take. Now this king will have to travel all the way here to take this. In the meantime, you are going to take all those dudes. This is the advantage of the outside pass pawn. The way how you did it. Now this pawn will be very difficult to stop. Shall we say impossible after c5. Luckily, your opponent decided that there was always an opportunity to throw away a half a point, and so he did. Now, easiest victory for you is just to run the hell back here. But, okay, h4 is still fine. Now, b4, Phillip. One pawn blocks 3. That's not a difficult move to find here. By any stretch of the imagination. Is it? I mean, after this, I can remove either of these and white still wins. No problems. Nil, none whatsoever. So, but even... King h5, where are you going? Like, what's the plan here? To push this. So now we are playing 1, 2, 3 moves in order to get to a scenario, and I'm not going to play now sensible moves for black just for the sake of the example, where you actually can't make any progress.
Right.
So you dug yourself into the biggest hole ever. And I actually didn't play moves for black. I just fiddled around with the king. He should be by now here at least. So what would be a sensible move here, Phillip, for white to win this game other than b4 that is auto win on the spot? Which is your worst piece by a million miles here?
King looks pretty bad on the pawn on G.
The pawn on G2 is totally fine. It has got nothing to do with which way the game is gonna go. As long as this doesn't promote here, you win. Irrespective of where these dudes stand. 100%. As long as this doesn't promote here, Phillip is winner. And therefore, the only sensible move to make here for white is going to be whatever they do is to come back. Yes, it feels like a slap in the face because you just went there and now you openly had to admit that, yes, I was not exactly the smartest dude on the block by going there. But hey, I'm still winning because I'm catching your pawn and I have got 2 connected pass pawns that are untouchable.
Right.
This hurts me more than anything I've seen so far, Phillip, to be perfectly honest with you. Like, you threw away a win here. And this again is like, come on, man, you are so late to the party. that was horrendously painful to watch. And the worst part of it is that there is only one thing that is worse than that, and that is to play it. And that is your inspiration to not to do stuff like Rook e3 here, to miss stuff like taking that or going for the check, to miss stuff like blocking a pawn that blocks 3 pawns by himself. I mean, you have to be Phillip. Endgames are very, very easy because they always come down to basic stuff. You look at the board, you go like, what is the only thing that can kill me here? How do I stop it? Done.
Right.
Yeah, so you really have to think in plans, not in exact moves. Because what is the best move in this position for white is a totally, utterly useless question. Endgames, you think in plans. What is my plan? Get a queen. What is their plan? Get a queen. Okay, can they stop mine? With major difficulties, maybe temporarily. Okay, can I stop theirs? Yeah, I can. B4, goodbye, you are not going to get a queen. That's it. And so, this is how simple is a decision in an endgame. And that is why I'm all the more puzzled about moves like this. What is my plan? To do... That's not gonna happen. And that's one thing that you chose a horrendously wrong plan, but it also shows me that you totally ignored your opponent. Like, you are playing these moves as if he didn't have the right to beat you.
Yep.
Yeah, like, you are simply just closing down that avenue of, can my opponent, is he allowed to, or may he actually try to beat me? No, we just are being very busy with doing whatever we want, and we just dig our head in the sand about what they do, and by the time you actually looked up, you went like, oh shoot, they have got a queen. So you really have to switch the way of your thinking. When you are in the middle game, it's move by move, and more often than not, it's move by move exact calculation. I go there, they go here, I go there, they go here, I take it, they take me back, I check, and then checkmate, sweet. In an endgame, plans. I want to stop this like crazy. They can't stop this. How do I do that? I do that. Okay, failing that. Oh shoot, this pawn is running in. Can I catch up? Let's see. I caught up. I still win. All right, let's move on. And that was an endgame lesson more than a game analysis, by the way, for you there.
I wanted to ask about this. I'm never sure how to play against this
Yeah,
C3
when I'm quiet, it means
thing.
you are doing the best thing, Philip.
Okay.
Okay, two things that are really good. C3 is basically intending to play D4 and conquer the whole center. The downside of the move is that it doesn't allow white to play knight C3. Knight C3 is a beautiful move to defend the pawn on E4. So, our instinct is to attack it. There are two good ways to attack it. One of them is knight F6. The other one is D5. You play like Kasparov here, so no worries. Okay, so you are already winning, essentially, out of the opening. You managed to develop two pieces, and you have got a firm control over the center. Your opponent decided to be ridiculous and run around with his queen on the board like there was no tomorrow. Okay, so total central domination, better development, get out of my game. That's what we do, right? Center?
Yeah. Okay.
You mean E5?
Yes.
I never understand why people stop here. I honestly don't, for the life of me. Even if they don't have a coach who is the most annoying dude in the universe by saying 170 times every single session, center, 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 why don't you go just for shits and giggles to E5? Like, what is this? Like, is it gravity that pulls it down on E6, or... I don't get it. Because even if that was not conceptually the better one, occasionally I would throw it out there just to see what happens. Because if there is one thing I really hate in chess, is passivity. And this is passive. Yep. By the way, just for the record, C4 was winning on the spot here.
Yep.
But I much rather like my fundamentals than minor tactical blunders. Because that happens to the best of us, including yours truly. But I would not play E6 here. No way, Jose. And neither would I play bishop e7. Actually, there is an argument for bishop e7 over bishop d6, and that is to keep the d file open for the d3 weakness, but okay, what else? Alright, knight e2. I'm not making comments here. The reason why I paused here, Philip, is because I'm a very big advocate of castling queenside anytime I am better developed, I am more controlling the center, or I am on the verge of winning a game. Because it screams aggression, but not only screams aggression, but it actually does aggression. Because when you play queenside castle, you develop a piece onto an open file. When you play short side castle, you are playing a super defensive move. In this position, nothing indicates that we should have a defensive mindset. We have an I'm going to kill you mindset. This move does not fit in the picture. This is a very schizophrenic approach where I would like to kill you, so let me play a very defensive move. Because let's face it, castles is a defensive move. It's designed to defend, to be very cautious of your own king's safety. Am I worried about my king's safety? Nah. And there is a choice for you to be active about it, which is almost always queenside castling. So don't overlook this opportunity, because yes, this is what I keep on pounding into you, that develop your pieces and then castle. And don't play early queen moves. But this is not an early queen move. Your pieces are all out. And then castles here is not a move that guarantees the safety of your king. Primarily not. Primarily, it's a very aggressive move that brings a rook into the play.
I didn't even consider this.
I know, that's why I am elaborating it as well as I can. Yeah. Okay. Here we have what I call, I will try to highlight it for you so that you will appreciate what I'm trying to say. What do we have here, Philip? Starts with T. We can take them. Yeah, bingo! They can take us, we can take them. What do I not like to do with tension?
right.
I don't like releasing
yeah.
tension, yeah? I like to build on tension because I am
I
an
understand.
aggro guy. How can you build on this tension, Philip?
Let's see.
It always has to do
knight.
with the squares that these two occupy. You want to cover those squares, either this or that. So what were you gonna say, knight what?
I was looking at knight g4 attacking the other bishop, but this is then clearly not the right.
Definitely not, because it's hanging for free. So let's pretend that that call did not happen at all.
Yes.
Do you have a crazy guy on the other end of the line, Philip, who likes to put his pieces in the center?
I do.
Okay, that would be me. I want to turn you into the same level of craziness. Okay, these are the guys that can potentially enter the center. I highlighted 4 moves of you, of which 3 is downright losing.
Yeah,
one of them is really good.
Knight c6 to e5 is that?
Bingo. See how now they can't really take us, because then we come in with a check, winning a pawn. More importantly, if you take now, then you are ready to jump in.
Right.
This is how you build on the tension. Anything that releases the tension allows them to sigh a sigh of relief. I don't have to worry about mess anymore. I take back. If you had done my way this business, now you would have a knight coming in here. Granted, they have a move to make now, but good luck. I wholeheartedly wish them good luck with stopping me from taking the bishop next and then coming in here. If they can pull it off to stop me doing that, they deserve it. Okay? Still 95 was the way to go, for the record. Ultimate example, Philip, of playing a developing move that does bugger all. Like, my first question when I see a move like this is, what's gonna be your next? Honestly, what's your next move? Because
you're not wrong. It's just...
Likewise, you could have done this, which can be said that is a developing move. Clearly, it's not working, by the way, that I'm fixing my webcam with chess pieces because they keep on dropping off. Yeah, like Rook e8, developing move, sort of. Does it do anything? Not at all. What's gonna be our next move? We don't know. Well, guess what? After Rook c8, do you know what your next move was? I tell you what, it was knight e5. Does it do anything? Oh yes, it does a lot. It's threatening with a check, but oh damn it, they just slipped away. Why is it?
Yeah.
Because you played a total waste of space. And had you played the correct move instead, they couldn't have stopped you from checking, which then, in contrast, would have stopped them from castling, which again is a game changer. And I'm not exaggerating. If this king can't castle, by default, you are going to win this game. It's as simple as that. And then we play this total lemon. I mean, you know as well as I do that this is not a developing move. This is a... I have no idea what I'm supposed to do here, so I will play something that my coach is not going to give me grief for because it looks developing.
I actually sort of heard the phrase, did you ask your Rook how he felt about the knight moving a second time?
Well, I tell you how it feels about it. Mighty happy because he wants to come and join the fray on d8 once this king is out. And if you ask this rook again, are you feeling any better here than here? This rook is going to tell you, not at all, mate. I was in a closed file here. I'm on a closed file here too. You could have spent that time far better by centralizing your pieces.
Yeah.
Have you ever spoken, Philip, and it's more of a rhetorical question because I do know the answer to it, but I really enjoy this. about knights guarding each other.
Yeah, that's bad.
It's the scenario where you go like, oh, I don't want to be there. I don't like it. It's a get me out of here scenario because now neither of your knights can move because the other one will be taken for free, and I'm about to kick one out and take the other one free.
Yep.
It's a very, very yucky scenario to be in. And basically what I'm sensing here, Phillip, is that you play the move because it seemingly did something, but we didn't calculate at all beyond what was going to happen to us after it. So you need to get into the habit, Phillip, of every single time you play a move, you have a line in your head, at least 3 moves deep. That I'm expecting them to play bishop f4, against which I'm gonna play... Oh wait, this looks awkward. No, stuff this. I'm gonna play knight d3 first because that attacks the pawn there, and then maybe knight g4 next. Actually, that was very fluky for you that you could regain that. But actually, if you take with the queen, then knight e4 is going to win it here, yeah? So you took with the... Oh, I thought you did take with the queen, never mind. In which case here, by the way, rook d1 must win this bishop, unless queen g5 saves you. But it actually does, okay. So maybe it's not that simple as I thought. Good on you, by the way, for spotting this. I have to be nasty with you, Phillip, but I doubt that you saw all this when you played knight g4.
No.
And if you tell me that you calculated this line all the way here, I will eat my words and I will tell you that you are a legend.
No, I stopped for about 2
because
minutes.
I actually can't see a way to exploit this pin for white here, because queen g5 seems to save the day in every single line.
Yeah.
For example, right now.
Yeah.
So why are we not playing this, Phillip? This.
I was scared of that pin.
What?
So
what pin?
Yeah.
I'm scared of that pin too, hence my move.
Right.
I'm just also very scared about that mate. Okay, without moving on, Phillip, in this position I need to ask you a question, which is the question that I would ask in my mind from myself. Do they have a threat? Choppy, answer me. If it's not in your face, we assume they don't. What's is knight f6 threatening? Does it do anything? It gives a check. I move out, either here or here. I haven't made up my mind yet.
Yeah.
Does it feel to you like we're getting killed? Nah.
I don't like it, but no.
I don't like it overly as much either, but it's not like I'm terrified. It's not like I feel the need to respond to what's happening here. Definitely not in a way that doesn't do something productive on my end of the business. So my first instinct in this position would be to play queen d7, which of course is the worst move on the board because it falls for this fork. So then I adjust it and I go here. Because I am by nature, well actually no, I am by nature in the chessboard or on the chessboard an aggressive guy. I'm not aggressive at all in any other walks of life, but on the chessboard I'm super aggressive. And if I sniff out the fact that this actually does not put the knife on my throat, then I very much would like to take that for free, thank you.
Right.
And if knight f6 check, I'm gonna go here. And I'm very skeptical about where this supposed attack is going. Because technically we only have dark squared weaknesses and we have a dark squared bishop to cover them. They do not have a white squared, a dark squared bishop. So I'm very, very, very doubtful about the success of this attack. This is, Phillip, an ultimate example of your responsive chess, where Oh my god, knight f6 is coming. I need to stop it. Why? And even if you were to stop it, why wouldn't you bring a new defender in? And actually give credit for yourself that 25 moves ago when you played Rook c8, you knew that you needed that Rook here because you wanted to stop that check. There you go. This was your opportunity to use that total waste of space. That Rook, that is. Bishop g7. Nah, doesn't do it for me. First of all, I don't want to swap this bishop for this knight. And second of all, that's the clumsiest way to stop this check. Okay, Rook there. What the heck? Like, really? This is typically a move, Philip, that tells me that more often than not, you are completely oblivious to what your opponent is about to do to you next. Which is why I asked you, and I will keep on asking you, that every single time before you make a move, you must nominate the move you are the most afraid of.
Right.
Because, and I did say it in other videos, and some people actually thought that it was a very good way to put it, you are being very arrogant by playing moves like this. Because what message it sends is that I think you are an idiot and you blundered the rook that has been on for the last 3 moves. That's what this move sends as a message. Yeah? Yeah. Because you just took a rook, clearly blundering a mate, so what you're saying is that, mate, you just blundered the rook. Are you crazy? So you didn't even give him credit that he actually built up some sort of pressure, which by the way puzzles me because right now we are pinned. We can't legally take it because it's a check. So when you put it here, when you take here, it still is going to be under attack at least by 1 piece, but actually 2. Is there any chance, Philip, that you were in time trouble here?
Yeah, it is very, very possible.
Okay. You need to say those things because otherwise I'm rubbing a lot of salt into very painful wounds. And if you had 20 seconds on the clock here, or 10 or 5, of course stuff like this happens that we just blunder into a mate because we frantically want to win, and the quickest way to win is to take our opponent's pieces. But in any other case, you must have the I am most afraid of move, and you even should have a response to that. So to give you a scenario to that, even if you were to play Rook c6 here, you must nominate the move that you most dislike, which would be inevitably Rook f1, because that's the best move.
Yep.
And ideally, you should have a response to what you would do against that move too. And so your way of thinking is that right now I would like to play Rook c6, and I really don't like Rook f1, but I reckon after King h8, I am all good, because that actually forks these 2 pieces, and if Rook takes f7, then Rook takes, and G takes h5. And with all due respect, I may have overstepped the limit of what you are capable of calculating or how deeply you can, but this is what we are working towards, Philip, not the move by move chess.
Yep.
Yeah, so I will play out the line that I was proposing, and I may have been wrong because this line is not over here. Okay, because we still need to reckon with Queen f5 threatening with mate, but for the life of me I don't see how they would mate us either after Queen here or Rook here. Sorry, I meant here. Here.
Yep.
Yeah? So this is how a chess player's mind should work. That we are calculating lines, there are moves that we don't like, and those moves are bound to happen, so we need to have a response. And one more of this torture to you, Philip, because why the heck not? Okay, this is beautiful chess. I do give credit, as you can see.
That was a weird move. Actually, I think I could have trapped his queen here somewhere. I looked at this after the game.
I am not surprised, Philip, because again, we are playing responsive chess. Okay, I did tell you this story, probably you would have heard it many other times. It's one of the most basic chess legends that there was a king once upon a time who left all his money to all his 3 sons on the one condition that they would never ever take on b2 with a queen whenever they play a game of chess.
I've not heard this before.
It has got 75 million variations. The bottom line is that you are always a sucker when you take that.
Okay.
This is the queen trap, in case you were wondering.
Yeah.
So once again, Philip, your thinking is, okay, how am I going to butcher this guy's queen when he takes here? So your initial mindset is that this should not be good, and therefore I should allow it. Rather, I should force it. Look at what you did.
Yep.
You brutally prevented the move that would have won the game for you. You actually do need to play a3 in order to cover b4, because in any other case, knight a4 is not going to win because of the check. And it's not an easy thing to find by any means. But even if you want to defend this, rook b1 is by far the ugliest way to do that. Because why wouldn't you then choose to play queen d2, which is a square where you are most likely to go anyway? Are you likely to play rook b1 in the next 25 moves? Not particularly. Are you likely to play queen d2 in the next 5 moves? Yeah, I would say so. That's the most likely square for the queen once you move it, because any other square would give up the d4 pawn. Yep. Okay. Oh my god. I probably would have kicked this queen out first, just to see where she's going. Because again, there are numerous scenarios where we can win the game without even thinking. That's just it. That's what happens to you when you play retarded queen moves one after another. So let's kick it out and see where it goes. That's a fail. If they go back here, I wouldn't be in a hurry to take this. I would be more inclined to play something like h4, or completely disregard the fact that they can take it because it's guarded, and again go for my favorite c7 pawn. Because I'm so far ahead in development that cheap, crappy moves like this actually are lethal threats. I mean, let's face it. Let's look at the position now. What have they done in exactly 10 moves? They played 5 gazillion queen moves, and they developed 1 piece.
Yep.
Sign me up. Why are we looking at this? Okay. What do they want to do, Philip?
Castle.
They want to castle here. That I would consider to be a minor triumph for them. Because that's the first sensible thing that they will have done in this game. Because until now, it was constant, utter stupidity. Blundering pieces, running around with the queen on the board like a maniac. They have done nothing that looked remotely like a chess player. Now these moves, okay, b6 was a blunder, but bishop b7, it's beginning to look like a chess setup. I'm dying to stop that. I don't want to give them any credible moves, because so far they have done none. Well, a half one here. So let's stop queenside castling in a rapid hurry, Philip.
Does knight g5 threatening a fork if he castles?
Knight g5 is a horrendous blunder that I chose not to acknowledge to hear.
Yeah. Alright.
Let's make it illegal, Philip. Play a move after which castling is illegal against the rules.
Queen g5.
Or h4. I far prefer h4 for a lot of reasons. One of them is that it can't be attacked, g5 can. Other one is that if they castle here, then I can attack myself here. Yeah? No castling. Yes, it's not a developing move, granted. Yes, it's a waste of a queen move that we don't like to do. But we are a piece up, nothing is hanging, we have time.
Yep.
Alright, I don't get this one. Explore, please.
I'm
I'm all ears.
was scared too.
Scared of what?
To explain.
Oh, you're scared. Okay, so you want to take this pawn, right?
Yeah.
Philip, what are the odds that they are going to guard this pawn?
Yeah, quite high.
Okay, so let's assume that they played this. Yeah? Have we made any progress whatsoever?
No.
No. Nil, none whatsoever. In fact, if you really ask me, this rook move seems to me to be far more useful than this queen move.
Yep.
Yep. Alright. Where should we play this game now, Philip?
That is the question that I...
On the king side, in the center, or on the queen side? Which is the least likely arena for us to play in? Is it the center? Is it the queen side or is it the king side? Yes, the least likely.
King side, probably.
I totally agree. Guess where you just made a move?
Right.
King side to king side. Where you are going to be attacked. And you just stepped hardcore into his main attacking idea. Had you kept it on h6, he couldn't have played g5 because that would have actually hung the pawn that you are hunting.
Right.
Okay, I would either play in the center, Philip, because let's not even go there. Why? Or on the queen side, because that's where his king is.
Yeah.
Okay? Waste of a move it was. And I really hate it when your bad ideas pay off. I really do. Because it already has given you the thumbs up and the green light. It was a good idea because he sucked it in. So you must have felt in the game that yes, queen f4 was a brilliant idea. Because you get an immediate positive feedback. Whereas the reality is that it was a very crappy move, to be perfectly honest.
Yep.
And it's a lot harder for me to plant it in your head because you have a very positive memory. I'm probably entering key Freudian psychological theories now, but I'm willing to contest the good old man, that it's an immediate positive feedback. So you go like, you pay. Bring it on again. Next time I'm going to play queen f4 again because it worked the first time. But chess is far more cruel than that. And by the way, I would have been very reluctant to take this second dude because now after rook g8, there's a significant pressure building up on me. Which is my initial idea, by the way, about not wanting to do anything at all on the king's side. Once again, this is not your playground. Center, queen side. Okay. I'm lost for words as far as this is concerned. And that. Good. Good stuff, Philip. Good stuff. Now we are playing where we need to play. Cough, cough. Almost the correct knight, almost the correct square. Why did we play, Philip, rook c1? Because we wanted to attack what?
Yeah.
You see how ridiculously illogical this move is, even if we know that you are headed for the most beautiful square on the board. Even if we know that, that just strikes you as utterly illogical because this is where you want to kill. And you can kill right now. Okay. And it's extremely rare in chess that you have second and third chances. Now you have because you are a piece up and your opponent can't tell a queen from a baseball bat. But when you play against strong opponents and in a position where you are not a piece up or 75 as the case may be, this is the difference between winning and losing.
All right.
Okay, you really have to be, that killing instinct must be your primary leader in your brain, that I want to butcher him. And rook c1 was exactly played in that spirit, that I want to kill you right there, right now. And when they play d6, you go like, I want to kill you even more right now. And actually they can't stop it. So your killing instincts and plans actually have succeeded. Right, and knight g5, second best, just to acknowledge the fact that it was actually aiming for a nice positional concept. And again, Philip, This is what you
Yeah.
wanted to attack when you play Rook C1. Don't allow yourself to digress and to go for something else. No, you have to be very specific. You had a plan, execute it.
Yeah.
Even a bad plan executed is better than a half-finished one. Whoa.
Yeah, I thought
Whoa.
he thought his queen was trapped. Yeah.
Okay, that's very romantic. Really? Do you remember when I was talking about your responsive chess, Philip? And I also did tell you this, that chess is very black and white in 95% of the cases. So why did you play 92? Because we are currently wetting our pants about Rook G1. Yeah? And I need to score this point too, despite of 92 being a perfectly legitimate move, because you need to be able to distinguish the friend and the foe, the threat and the non-threat, and the what's going on. Is this a threat? And there are only two possible answers to this, a yes or a no. The could be or potentially or one day, or if I play queen d2 because that's the dumbest thing I can do, yes, then it is. But chess is not like that. Rook g1 is not a threat. And therefore, I'm not willing to play a single move that would acknowledge it as a threat.
Right.
You go for the mate. Whatever shape or way or form you can do that, you go for it. I personally would play a knight move forward anywhere. Literally, I don't care if it's hanging. Because as long as this bishop moves away from here, I'm going to go check next.
Yep.
Yeah? Yes, I know that you felt like, okay, game in the bag, I can't stuff it up. But this is a thinking that we also need to eliminate from everyone's thinking. Okay, because it's either a threat or it's not. And if it's not, you keep on going in for the kill. Udo. I am biting into your time a little bit, but I can't stop now. I'm on fire.
It's all good.
Let me know if your wife is wanting to do aggressive things against you. Oh man, such a beautifully played opening. You are a boss. Taking back with the correct piece, Queen A5. What is the idea behind Queen A5, Philip?
To take the knight.
Not at all.
I remember seeing some stuff on this.
Not at all.
Okay.
Queen A5 has got nothing whatsoever to do with this. If it was your turn again, this would be the most terrible strategical error you could do, because that swaps off that black bishop and allows them to control a lot of weak dark squares. The threat, Philip.
Sure, you gave me a file on this.
I did, and in some cases we do take, but let me just deliver this point and you will understand what I'm saying. Queen here is designed to take this, or if it were to move, to take the bishop.
Yep.
Because once
that as well.
This takes place, you are the absolute lord of all the dark squares, and that includes this. So now they take, you take, and now and only now do you fret to take this knight.
Yes.
Because if you do it right now, then we just lost a piece.
Right.
And 100% guaranteed that this is not part of your file.
Yeah.
Okay. In fact, this move is already not part of your file because it's a mistake. The reason, or rather I should say the shortcomings of my files, is that most of them have been made for very good players. And I don't want to brag here, but some of them were made for 2700 plus grandmasters. Not by me, but let's not get into the ins and outs of that now. And so a lot of them don't discuss bunny moves. And I don't mean disrespect by that. But you won't find bishop a6 in the file because, yeah, you get the point. And on 2700 level, this is a lemon.
Right.
And so and this is actually something that I also told you, if your opponent plays a move that is not in the file, and it's not a total lemon, more often than not you will find that if it's outside of the scope of the file, it will be a total lemon, then ask me. In this case, you didn't need to because you played a perfect move, you just didn't realize it. Because here after queen g5, you're dominating the board. And I have to eat my words a little bit because yes, you are right. The whole idea is to build up a lot of pressure on this knight, and sometimes you take it, sometimes you take advantage of the pin by taking that, and sometimes you play d5. So yes, we do build up on that knight. And that's definitely part of the concept. But now it's not time to execute that because we just lost a piece, we need to take it back.
Yeah.
Okay, so please be mindful of that. If they had played in this position, say, I don't know, let's just for the argument's sake go there. Queen a5 and bishop g2. For okay, actually, no, sorry, I need to guard this. So, yeah, I got it. For sure, you can take it. I still wouldn't because e4 is hanging, so I probably played some retarded moves. Okay, so let's say bishop d3, queen a5, bishop drops back. Would I take on c3? Yes, I would. But it's only because I can't hurt him with anything else. Okay? Alright, so very quickly. Oh, oh really? Bishop d2, that is priceless. Okay, queen e5, check, beauty. Beauty. Alright, you are a legend. That was actually very well played. I mean, granted, bishop d2 was probably one of the most ridiculous moves I've seen today, but that's not your fault.
Yeah.
Do you explain?
Manual castling.
Yes, I thought that would be the reason, and that's why I stopped there. Why on earth would you want to castle, Philip? I want this king to be here, even here, here. It's an endgame. This is one of your attacking pieces, Philip. You don't want to tuck it away. Stuff that. You want to bring it on. The last thing I want to do is to tuck this king away here. Why would I? I am a piece ahead in this position because after I brought my rooks to the relevant files, here, all of my pieces are playing, including my king. Theirs is not.
Right.
It's a huge difference. I play rook d8, they play rook here, I play rook here, they play here, I take. And I will see what they do. They take, bang, bang, rook in, hitting here, and my king is ready to come here. And hit that. Game is over. This is a perfectly irrelevant move again. Alright. I'm so glad that I didn't let you go here, Philip. What is the worst possible pawn move you can make in this position? And I'm not kidding you.
F5.
Actually, I wanted to say that h5 was even worse, but actually it's not the case because if they take that, you get to take this one for free. You have to explain to me, Phil, why this is so atrociously, horrendously bad. Because I want you to be able to verbalize it, because if you can't, that means you don't understand why it's bad. In which case I will explain it, but I do trust you will do it for me. And I will let you go on that note because I'm really pushing my luck here. What's so bad with it? It's not blundering anything.
Yeah, that's what I thought at the time as well.
Okay, please do tell me if you are lost to it. And then I will tell you.
It completely escaped me.
Okay, first of all, this makes this pawn structure rigid. What it means is that now this pawn is a backward pawn. You can never ever push it and take back on it with a pawn.
Okay.
Second of all, it created a horrendously ugly outpost where I can put pieces in. You can't kick them out. We hate to create those things. Third, and that should have made it very obvious to you that you were about to make the ugliest move on the board, we hate with a passion to put pawns on our own bishop square, especially when they are fixed, meaning they can't move off this square anymore. And this is not something that is new to you. I did say that a lot of times. You have got 7 pawns on the board, of which now 5 is on white. 75 million alarm bells going out in your head, like ding, 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 don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Because now if I push this in here and I get a king up here, which is not unrealistic at all of a sudden, as far as the structure is concerned, Philip, you are worse. You are a pawn ahead in an endgame, and despite of that, your position is positively worse. You are planless, you're full of weaknesses, and you just can't do a thing. Okay, in this position, the correct move is f6 if any pawn moves, because that keeps your pawns fluid. And after king d6, you can actually don't play king d6 because that's false for this check. But the idea is to guard this, then king d6, then e5, and then you can take back with the pawn. These pawn moves are almost always horrendous positional decisions. Okay, because that creates a weak square, a backward pawn, and just doesn't allow you to go forward and retake with a pawn. Same would apply to a4 or h4. It's the same horrendous concept. That a4 in this position would create a weak b4 square, a backward pawn, and just in general putting more and more pawns on the wrong square. I just very quickly fly through this game because I'm curious how you won it. Okay, e5 would have been the correct move, but now I'm really not wanting to comment, but just fly through. Okay, fair enough. All right, Philip. I tell you what, I'm very glad that I decided to record it, because I think that this was probably one of the most instructive lessons I've ever given to you, and for that reason, and I'm not blowing my own trumpet here, but I genuinely believe that that's the case, I highly recommend you to rewatch it, probably more than once, especially on those points where even after my explanations you feel that I don't know what the guy is trying to tell me. Because I really believe that I put a lot of value into this. Like, it was game analysis, but it had a lot of very, very important endgame things and quite a few middle game issues as well that really we need to address in your game now. So when you have the time, please revisit this because you will find it very useful.
All right, thank you.
Shall we stick to this time, Philip?
Yeah, perfect.
So I'm going to see you in a fortnight at this time. Is that right?
Yes.
Coolsies, please send me a reminder because I'm so hopeless at this, especially now that work is back full time. I'm struggling. In case you couldn't, in case you couldn't tell.
No worries.
All right, thank you, Philip. Keep up the good work. And in a fortnight, I'm going to look at the same numbers in a different order. So I'm expecting a 1, a 9, a 6, and a 0.
Let's see.
Nah, I'm kidding. But yeah, trust me, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
All right.
All right, mate. Thanks a lot. I will see you in a fortnight.
Okay.
Bye.
Cheers.